So, Kelcey, tell me about your Kefir project here.
It's water kefir, and it gets taken care of every day. And so yeah, this is the process, I guess. This has been sitting. We actually let this ferment an extra day just because I was lazy yesterday. But grains sitting in sugar water. This is the first ferment, and then we'll explain how to start the first ferment later. But we need the jar first. So you strain it out, and just because this is what we do, I strain it, like I'll pour a little bit out, dump this into another jar.
And again, this is liquid that has been fermenting for how many days?
Well, normally it would be about 24 to 48 hours. I think this one's been like 70, 72, like 3 days.
Okay.
But that's just because I was lazy yesterday. And I didn't do it yesterday. But yeah, anyway, so I'm just straining it out a couple times just because, this little Pyrex pour thing is smaller than this jar. But it has a nice pour spout thing, which comes in handy when you're trying to put it in jars later. And I don't like doing dishes, so I try to use the least amount of dishes as possible. Alright.
And that is the kefir.
And those are the grains.
The grains.
And we actually have a decent amount of grains for this big jar. So, anyway, if you actually look inside this jar, there's little grain babies. They're like little baby grains. So, to get those out, I just pour a little bit of this back in the jar. Give it a little swirl. And dump it. And there's a couple, but irrelevant. And then you wash the jar out, or rinse it out, or however you feel like doing it. But when you wash out this jar, don't use hot water, because, well, I mean you can, but if you want your jars not to break, don't use hot water, because going from hot water in here and then going back over, we fill it up from our fridge, which is like filtered, which you need to use filtered water. Yeah, the filtered water is cold in our fridge and the sink water is hot, and then you keep doing that every day for a while and then it'll break. I was carrying it over to the counter and the bottom just fell off of it. But we have a sugar that we use. It's not actually Skippy. It's the stuff that we get at Winco. It's like a Demara or whatever. I think there's more R's in it than that. It's like a raw sugar, and it's brown and big crystals. It looks like that. Anyway, you can use any sort of sugar you want. You can use white sugar. Oops, I totally didn't measure that.
There's about 2/3 of that container, that little thing.
Yeah, close enough. So
about how much are you intending to put in?
I'm putting in about half a cup. This is a 1/4 cup measuring cup. So 2 scoops.
So half a cup, and how large would you say this is? Do you know offhand? It fills up 4-pint jars.
2 quarts.
It's a 2-quart? Okay.
No, wait. 2 quart, 1 pint? 80. It says 80 fluid ounces.
Okay.
So it's a big pickle jar.
Okay.
Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah. If you use like white sugar or something like that, you might want to like add something like that has minerals in it, because they're living things. They need their nutrition. So yeah, we use the raw sugar, which we hope. I mean, it's done well so far for us. Like it is growing really well. So if you just use white sugar, like you can use like a slice of lemon, like a thin slice of lemon, or like there's like vitamin mineral like tablet things you can put in them. We haven't used them. We just use this stuff, and it works pretty well. Tap water has like chlorine or something in it that inhibits the growth of your kefir, or it kills it outright. So you can either, if you don't have filtered water, like out of your fridge or like a one of those filtered pitcher or filtered sink things, then you can either boil it and then let it cool back down to room temperature. You don't want to put hot boiling water on your kefir grains. Or you can just let the water sit uncovered, like in a pitcher or something overnight so the corn evaporates. And then you can use the water the next day. But don't use just straight out of the tap. So yeah, these things, the sugar on the bottom doesn't really dissolve. I put this in the wrong jar first. Doesn't really dissolve. So you have to stir it. Sometimes I'll use like a big metal spoon, but we're given a wooden spoon to try today. It's got a longer handle. It's a little easier. Takes a while to stir it. Okay, so we just finished stirring. There's a few granules left on the bottom, but I don't worry about those. They'll dissolve as long as there's not like a huge pile of them, like a little bit of wispy, sugar in the bottom. No big deal. And so these grains go back in the jar. I was just reading the other day that some people will rinse them, but we haven't, and they haven't had any problems. So, I don't know. Because these things, it's weird. For us, they grow like explosively. They're very prolific. Prolific. Is that the right word?
Yeah. So every time you do a batch, you have just a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you have like a whole cup extra, every time. But, if you do this for like a month,
yeah,
you'll have like, a cup extra every, I don't know, maybe a month or whatever. It depends on, I guess, your water and the sugar you put in it and where it's at, how much like warmth it's getting and stuff. But I don't know. It's different. I guess it's different for everyone. We've had good luck with ours. But yeah, so this is the first ferment stuff, and it's done. So I'm gonna leave it here for a second because we're gonna take this stuff and we're actually going to pour very slowly off the top into this jar.
And where was that previously? That was where all the kefir was.
This was where all the kefir grains were at. This is the water that the kefir grains were just in. We strained the kefir grains out of them, and this will now become the second ferment. So the stuff that we just put sugar water and the grains back into, this is going to be the first ferment. And this is always a first ferment jar, and this is always the second ferment jar. This is just how we worked out. However you work it out, that's up to you, but this system's worked well for us. Okay, so yeah, you want to pour it slowly off the top of it, because inside, I'll turn this if I can. Inside here, there's those cloudy things on the bottom. Those are grain babies. You don't want to dump them into this jar because you want to turn them into big grains because grains are good. So yeah, then I dumped the grain babies into the first ferment jar with the grains. Grain babies go back with the grains. And they're cloudy little grain babies. Anyway, so yeah, there's still a bunch left in the Pyrex. So I'll just a little bit of water. And there we go. You now have a full jar. So this is now done. This is going to go back sitting on the counter where we have it. And this is where our kefir sits. You don't want to tighten the lid down really tight. Leave it loose so it gets airflow because it'll build pressure. This lid doesn't actually fit this jar, but it sits on top. Now we have to finish off the second ferment jars. We flavor it with this stuff. It's Dole 100% juice. Orange, peach, mango is what we use. But you can use any sort of fruit juice, or you can put fruit in it, or whatever, or you can just leave it plain if that's your cup of tea. Ooh, my bad. I'll get that later. Yeah, so we don't use a lot, just I'll scoop that, maybe a little bit more. just kind of, I don't know what the measurements are. I don't deal in measurements. I just, scoop of this, scoop of that.
The taste.
I don't taste it. Just scoop of this, scoop of that, whatever. But if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say maybe 2 big, like, heaping tablespoons, or 3, not as much heaping tablespoons. Maybe, I don't know. Just taste it yourself and then see if you like it. I mean, like, taste it, mix it, stir it, taste it, see if you like it. If it's a little too sweet, don't add as much next time. If it's not sweet enough, add a little bit more. Make sure it's all mixed together. There's still frozen chunks in the bottom. A lot of times I'll put the frozen stuff in first and then I'll pour on top so it has time to melt, but I just forgot this time. However it works for you. So this stuff is going to go into jars, and we actually have these kind of jars. It's actually on the wrong side. There we go. These kind of jars that will, sorry, don't mind my arm up there. Flip. It will close, and these pop down like that, and it holds pressure. So if you have jars that will hold pressure, I've heard that mason jars work well. Oh man, there we go. Mason jars work well, as long as the lids don't have like crusty stuff in the seals or anything like good quality, new fresh lids on your mason jars. You should be good. Don't use plastic because that doesn't really hold pressure. The plastic will like bow and probably pop because it does build up a decent amount of pressure. I'd be careful using any like recycled like salsa jars or anything like these are old salsa jars because they're not really designed to hold up to pressure very well, so they have been known to explode. So be careful what jars you put in. These are actually designed to hold pressure. So if you can use these or something similar, then that's probably best. Plus they form a pretty good seal, so you don't lose any pressure that way. Second thing is going in the jars. So I'm just gonna bring them forward and line them all up, and then give it a stir. Because there's some like stuff that'll float to the top, and stuff that'll kind of like sink to the bottom. It's fine. But you gotta want to evenly distribute it if you can. So give it a stir every now and then. And then again, it's really difficult to pour out of this jar into the funnel for the bottles, so I pour it into this conveniently pour spouty Pyrex measuring cup thing. And then there's some tricks to pouring into these jars, bottles. Don't just like set it all the way in there because you'll get liquid around this edge, and and then air will want to come out, and it'll like spray and like sputter in your face. So pull it up and leave like an air gap, and try and pour. Where are you at? There you go. Try and pour like right into the center inside the funnel. Until you fill it up. Fill it up, leave an air gap in the bottom of your funnel, pour into the center of the funnel. That's what works for us. But yeah, when you fill it, leave a little bit of air on the top. You don't have to leave a lot of air. I usually try and go like halfway up the neck. But if you only want to go like to the bottom of the neck, or if you want to go all the way up to almost the top, then it's up to you. Doesn't really matter too much. I don't think. I haven't noticed it makes a difference.
Are you finding that the more kefir you produce inside your large fermentation jar, the less drinkable solution you have at the end?
Yeah. So the more we got to the point, when we were at one first ferment of kefir, like one of those jars that's sitting over there first fermenting, we had a lot of grains in there. before we split them up, and all those grains are taking up space so that there's less water in there. So we were only barely able to fill up all these 4 jars. But since we split them up, we have the 4 jars plus some extra that you can either put in a smaller jar if you have one, or I just drink it most of the time. Because, I mean, after, it's still like edible or drinkable after the first ferment. It's just the second ferment makes it like fizzy and gives it a little more like a tartness to it. So try it, like try drinking it at all the different stages and see what you like. We like ours fermented more because it gets it a little bit fizzier and delicious. So.
And use care opening too sometimes.
Oh yeah, they pop. Like when you open it, it's like, except
with carbonation.
Yeah, it's
with
fizzy.
Pressure.
So the pressure, and put it when you open it. This is what we do when we open it. Take a towel and you put it over top, and you open it that way, because this edge, there will be kefir on it, and when pressure comes out, kefir will come out with it and it will spray. So you get like kefir on your hand or your face when you open up a bottle if you don't put a towel over it. So, okay, so after you fill them up, you're gonna wanna put them over in a safe place, and make sure they stay covered, because you don't want them in like direct sunlight or anywhere too bright. So we have first ferments and second ferment, and one of our second ferments here, and then we just have a black apron that we put over it and tuck them in for bedtime. And then we have other second ferments that are in our cupboards, because they go from here to 2 different places in our cupboards. They kind of rotate through, and then we put them in our fridge. And you want a refrigerator when you drink it.
Yes.
Because it's more delicious.
Time-wise, how much time is spent on each place, each of the 3 places?
They spend ours. I mean, everyone's is different. Some people only ferment it for like 24 hours, like on the first ferment, and they'll just drink it straight up like that. Or you can first ferment for 24 hours, second ferment for 24 hours, and then drink it. Or any more time. We have 48-hour first ferment or 2-day first ferment and 3-day second ferment. So the kefir that we're drinking is like 5 or 6 days old by the time like it sits in the fridge for a day or half a day till we get to drinking it. And so that is how you make water kefir.